Good morning, guys. So, in today's video, I wanted to speak about the movie Oppenheimer, give you my thoughts and opinions about said movie. So, I went to watch it with my friends last Saturday, just a few days ago, and honestly, um, I wouldn't say it was a great movie. It was a good experience because I was with my friends, but it was way too long for my liking. I mean, a 3 hour movie without any action whatsoever about the guy who invented a nuclear bomb during the Manhattan Project. I am not very familiar with what happened historically, and I wouldn't say that this movie helped me understand any better. I think to have appreciated the movie more, you would have needed to read a lot about what actually happened so many decades ago, during the Second World War. And yeah, basically, I think Christopher Nolan is an interesting movie director. He made the Batman trilogy, which was brilliant. And this one, however, I think he overused the black and white effect just to look more professional. I think the cast was pretty cool, but over there, the Josh character, I don't think he was appropriate. He's just a funny character to look at, and putting him in a context which is so tragic was probably a horrible decision. I always thought that when the bomb exploded, he would have said something like, "This is all Megan's fault" or something, because of, the Drake and Josh movie. And there were so many cameos from other movies as well, so many brilliant actors. I especially didn't enjoy the sex scenes. They didn't really add much to the movie except to portray how Oppenheimer was a womanizer, which I guess is something that can be said of many, many historical geniuses. Um, yeah, basically, I think that the first part of the movie was pretty interesting. I couldn't look away since there was so much going on. Second part of the movie just literally almost put me to sleep. It was so boring with nothing happening, and I thought there would be more of a focus on the explosion of the bomb. The huge delay with the audio really frightened me for some reason. I wasn't expecting it to be so late, and it was quite shocking to hear after the brilliant flash of light, which almost blinded me through the screen as well. I think Cillian Murphy did a great job despite not having much to do. He had very few lines actually, and most of the time he spent staring um, emptily towards the not the audience because he can't look at the camera, but into the abyss, those eyes without any emotion, yet speaking so many words. It was brilliant the way he is capable of doing that, of putting so much emotion in his eyes without actually conveying anything on his face, just a brilliant poker face and putting all the emotions in his eyes. I think that was fantastic. Honestly, I think it's an overrated movie. I certainly wouldn't watch it again. I loved the music and the sound effects. I think those were the best parts of the movie. And I think Robert Downey Jr. saying that this was the best movie he ever acted in is quite a disgrace to his legacy as Iron Man and in being so many other cool movies having to do with the Avengers. It's an embarrassment for him to say something like that. And it was also quite a letdown for me to hear that he was portraying this movie as better than the Avengers or than Iron Man in so many interviews. In fact, Christopher Nolan himself, that RDJ being cast as Iron Man was a brilliant decision by Jon Favreau, but Iron Man went and stabbed everyone in the back with saying so many horrible things. Of course, he wasn't disqualifying anything about his role as Iron Man. He wasn't trying to self deprecate, but still, I don't think he should have made those comments. And one final thing, I will always look at Cillian Murphy as a character who forms part of the Peaky Blinders series, always as some sort of a gang leader, always being the person in power. And I think him portraying Oppenheimer, was probably a very good decision as well because he already had a lot of practice in behaving like he doesn't give a fuck, yet in doing so much and having such a huge role in what went down in the entire movie. I wouldn't say I learned a lot about this Manhattan Project, as it were. As I mentioned earlier, I think it would have been much more helpful if I had read about the movie before and, yeah, had a historical background of what was going on. And I wouldn't recommend this movie to people who want to learn something new about the Manhattan Project. There were too many characters, some of them were hardly developed, and it was just confusing to see who was who and what their role was in actually developing the nuclear bomb, sorry, or actually, trying to put Oppenheimer behind bars for what he had done, and that was extremely confusing. So I wouldn't recommend people to watch the movie without any context about it. In fact, I am interested in buying the screenplay of the movie so I can read it again and perhaps understand better who the characters are and actually learn something. I wouldn't say I'm a visual learner, but this movie certainly didn't help me. So I think on a scale of 5 stars, I'd probably rate this movie somewhere around 2, between 2 and 2.5 stars. And as I mentioned, I wouldn't watch it again. It is a masterpiece in the sense of the way it is made, but once again, the effects are overused in the sense that black and white and the idea, the concept of time and what is going on, shifting from the past to the present and what actually happened, it was very confusing to follow, and the effects were overused as well, which is something that I think Christopher Nolan is praised way too much for, and it doesn't really take that much effort to create such scenes. So I think that's my take on the movie Oppenheimer, which was released just a few weeks ago, which I watched a couple of days ago. If there is anything you disagree with, of course, let me know. I would love to listen to your thoughts, especially if you watched the movie. And if you haven't watched the movie, let me know in the comment section whether you are inclined to after listening to this review, or whether you'd rather skip it or watch Barbie instead. I think I am going to watch Barbie in due course, and yeah, I hope to enjoy it more than I did Oppenheimer because I was quite disappointed, except for my friends being there, the movie itself didn't do much for me. So, thank you for watching as usual, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.